Super important. The cadence used when acquiring funding. In other words, the timing of how you want to go through the process and how you properly, I would say, how you want to set it up, meaning how you want to go through each application and what you want to avoid along the way. I wanted to include both on here just because I think a lot of people screw it up, and I don't want you to be one of them. So, first part of this, with the cadence, is funding rounds occur in 30 to 60-day timeframes. This means that from the time, and I'm assuming you already have an account with the bank, or if you don't, you typically want to wait at least 30 to 60 days, even prior to this. So you want to give yourself a buffer of when you open the account with the bank. Let's say you deposit your first $5,000 with the liquidity side of it, so that way they see that there's consistent reserves, and then you want to wait, you want to chill out for a little bit, right? If you start rushing the process too quickly, banks see that as an immediate need for capital, and that actually turns them off. So you want to play it cool whenever you're going through the process, because if you try to speed it up, then again you're seen as a higher risk to them, and they're going to say, wait a minute, why do you need this capital so fast? Like, is there something that you're not telling us? So spacing it out. Once that's done, and assuming you've already done that, that 30 to 60-day time frame from the moment that you submit the first, let's say, banking application, either in person or online, usually takes about 30 days for you to start getting, by the time you actually get the funds in your account, but for you to properly see all those applications through, because sometimes applications get put in holding window, which can last anywhere between 7 to 21 days, which is why I wanted to give you this buffer right here. Now, having accounts set up with the banks that you're looking to apply for prior to the applications is going to be crucial. This means that if I know I'm going to be, let me go back up top. If I know that I'm going to be hitting Fifth Third, South State, Seacoast, and Wells Fargo, then I want to know that ahead of time. I don't just want to come up with that and then do it the next day. I want to have that already premeditated 1 week out. So that way I can get my docs in order. I can see, okay, who do I need a relationship with? Who do I need to go speak to? Should I apply for this in person? Do I already have a connection at the bank that I can maybe go talk to? Say, hey, I know that when I came here, I had my personal accounts, but now I've been operating this business, but I never presented it to you. You want to inform the banker of what you're actually doing. Again, on the business side, if you're able to, and if you actually have access to those resources, and if you do, then I 100% recommend it. Which is what we always set up our clients for, either with our bankers that are vetted, or we show them how to properly go into a bank and introduce themselves, introduce their businesses, and also present it in a way that's appealing to the banks so that they can give them those easier approvals that they're seeking. Big mistakes that I want you to avoid is applying without opening an account first. Big no-no. Second big no-no is applying for everything at once. You want to space everything out properly. I don't recommend, and when I say this, here's what I mean, because there's like a double-edged sword here. You don't want to wait, because I see this too, is somebody who gets excited and say, well, I got a $50,000 business line of credit, and then they wait a month to apply for the rest of the funding sequence. So that's like the extreme. The other side of this is they apply for a business line of credit, business credit card, and like 2 checking accounts on the same day. Too much, too fast, right? Too much, too fast. You want to space it out. So I typically like to see, especially if I'm going for double products inside of the same bank. So if I'm going for a business credit card and a business line of credit inside the same bank, I'll probably go for the business credit card first, and then I'll probably wait maybe about a week, and then I'll go back in and apply for the business line of credit. Unless it's like a bank where I can do both the same day and I'm working physically with the banker, and they say, hey, let's do both now. Cool, we're going to do both now. But in most instances, I'm going to get one product first, wait for the approval. I physically have that product in my hand, and then I'm going to go back in for the second or third product at that bank. The third mistake that I see is putting unrealistic or inaccurate revenue or income numbers. Know your numbers, both on the personal side and on the revenue side. And if you don't have your revenue in terms of actual tax returns, then you want to be able to project properly specific to your industry. Don't just put 350 on something because you saw it online. Don't just put 450 on something because you saw it online. It all varies based off of your personal credit. So banks can see, especially since you're personally guaranteed, they can see how big your personal credit lines have been. That's a big part. Where you're located or where you're applying for like what state or what region of the country. So that has to do with it, with the median household income, and also the median, which is the third part, also like the median or the average of what the business is for that specific industry that you're applying for, what that type of business actually generates. So I've mentioned it before and I'll say it again. 450 in a trucking in the trucking industry, or matter of fact, I'll keep this example. 450 for roofing in the middle of SoCal is totally different from 450 in the middle of Iowa. It just is what it is. And so you always want to be watchful of those numbers and be true to those numbers. And again, it makes it easier if you've actually done this thing and you have your own numbers that you can use, because then you can use your own averages. Rushing through each bank, which I mentioned kind of up top, which is applying for everything at once, but rushing through each bank is a big no-no, and not taking time to set everything up with the accounts, partnerships, having money in the account. If you have a product, if it's a personal account, making sure that the utilization isn't past 30%, because banks have total credit exposures, and you want to make sure that that's lower than 30% as you go back in asking them for more money, because they're going to say, wait a minute, you already owe us something. What are you coming back in here for?